Hi, lovely, and welcome to More Than the Glass, a space for honest conversation about motherhood, alcohol, identity, and reconnecting to yourself. I'm Karen,
I'm Gillian.
and wherever you are on your journey, you are so very welcome here because we deserve more.
Yes, we do. Now, today we want to get a wee bit topical. We want to explore a recent decision by the authorities in Paris to temporarily ban public drinking and takeaway alcohol sales due to the recent extreme heatwave. And wonder, is this a starting point for like a wider conversation about alcohol, public health, and our cultures? So rather than actually like debating the government policy, because that feels a bit too highbrow for us, we're just going to invite people to like consider what it says about our relationships with alcohol when during like a public health emergency, reducing alcohol becomes part of a package of things to protect hospitals and our emergency services.
Yeah, it was quite interesting, wasn't it? Because we were actually together like for the weekend when this kind of like hit the news. So yeah, we were like really engrossed in it. We're like, oh my God, this is like yeah, quite a story. And I guess for anyone that missed out on it, um, the authorities in Paris temporarily restricted public drinking and takeaway alcohol sales. So you were still able to have a drinking license. Bars and
Yeah.
restaurants, they were exempt from the restrictions, but it was the like takeaway services and yeah, you weren't able to publicly sit and drink alcohol during the severe heat wave. I mean, it was like temperatures of like 40 degrees over there, wasn't it? It was really, really warm, really, really
Yeah,
hot.
Disneyland shut. Euro
Yeah,
Disney
yeah,
shut. And I suppose though for context as well, at the time of recording, we're going through another heat wave
we
as
are.
well.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that was
So
a few weeks ago and now it's
we're in
roasting.
another one, aren't we? And I guess again the reason behind it was to support the emergency services, the hospitals in this time of extreme heat and potential crisis, health crisis. And I guess why did alcohol become part of this whole conversation? I guess, um, and we all know that alcohol increases dehydration, and the sun, the hot weather will also do that. It can also enhance other conditions, so it exacerbates other health conditions
Mhm.
and can obviously make the symptoms worse. And also at that time, there's already going to be so much pressure on those resources. You know,
Mhm.
people are going to be in distress, and especially vulnerable people, older people, etc., who are going to need those services. It was thought that alcohol and maybe misuse of it, dare I say it, would put further strain on those already fraught
Yeah.
services.
I mean, you only need to walk into any A&E department of a weekend and see how many people are in there
Mm,
because of something connected to alcohol, be it direct alcohol, like
mm,
being steaming and falling and hurting yourself,
mm,
alcohol impacting an already existing condition, being the victim of something alcohol related. Um, the figures are staggering, like, and you don't need to be a like it's obvious, it's blatant,
yeah.
and how it must feel to be to work in those services and be called out time and time again to people who are drunk, and then obviously something like that heat wave in Paris and here, it's like it's a pressure cooker, really, isn't it?
It is, like you say, it's not just the direct impact of the alcohol, um, you know, with dehydration or whatever else. It is the injuries that are caused by people falling and hurting themselves, and I don't know, breaking limbs or whatever. It's the fights, it's all of those
Yeah.
impacts, isn't it? All of the knock-on effects, which, like you say, you've only got to go into A&E or watch one of the A&E dramas, you know, to just see how unbelievably awful it must be. Like, to be in there
Well,
every weekend, just, well, yeah, crazy, crazy, crazy.
but I suppose what we immediately jumped to when we read this article was, oh Christ, can you imagine them trying to do that over here? Like the comparison that we made. Now, we're not saying that our government should make a
No, no,
policy
no,
like
no,
that.
not
We're
at all.
not getting into all of that. But it just made us imagine them trying to
Yeah,
do something
yeah.
like that.
And we don't know what the compliance was like with it. You know, we don't know if people adhered to it. We don't know any of that. But just the simple fact that that was a conversation that was held and something that was rolled out to the public in Paris, and I think in wider parts of France as well. And imagining that scenario in the UK, I cannot even begin to imagine. I just don't. I think there would be uproar. I don't think anyone would comply with it. I think it would just be utter mayhem.
And so, what does that say about what
Yeah.
does that say about the UK, and what does that say about our culture and our relationship
Yeah.
with alcohol?
It is, I mean, again, and we've done episodes around it, but we're currently in the World Cup as well. And just this last weekend, England were playing Mexico at 1 in the morning UK time. It then obviously got delayed till 2 in the morning. So right at the last knockings, it was announced by the government that pubs could all have late licenses. They could apply for late licenses, which of course they did. Of course they did. And I'm sure it was the Met Police, but the police had come out and just criticised how irresponsible it was to make that decision so last minute, because it had put so much additional pressure on the police service to be able to cope with people potentially drinking all day Sunday and into Monday. You know, bearing in mind the game didn't start till 2 a.m. It didn't finish till 4 a.m. It's just madness. I mean, yeah,
And this sounds dead dramatic, right? But do you know what? Do you know the similarities it brings to my mind? See all these crazy Americans that are like, "You can't take my gun off me,"
Oh,
like the
no,
gun is my
no,
constitutional right. I think people would be like that
they would.
about booze in this country.
They
Don't
would.
you dare come after
You
my
can't tell
booze.
me what to do. Oh, 100%. Like there would be utter uproar about like being told what to do around alcohol. And don't get me wrong, I think post COVID as well, after after the shit show that was of being told what to do and everyone pretty much adhering to it, and then knowing what was going on behind our backs or whatever else. That aside, I just I cannot ever imagine a situation where that would happen.
No, I can't. Honest to God, I can't. It wouldn't be. Um, I know there's loads of factors at play, isn't there? Just about like government trust and all the rest
Yeah.
of it,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
our compliance, if that's a horrible word, but our
Yeah. Yeah.
us doing as we're told, basically. But
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
just can't imagine it. I just cannot imagine it. And I get that people enjoy a drink, I really, really do. But when it comes to in a situation like this, like
Yes.
what Paris was going through
Yeah.
that day,
Yeah.
when it's more than individual choice, when we are
Hmm.
actually talking about the the impact of public services. And for me, it's like this is the first time that alcohol was being talked about
Yeah.
in relation to its impact on public health.
Yes. Yeah.
I've
Exactly.
never seen it before.
No.
I've never seen it happen
No.
like that before.
No.
It's something from the top has said that this is impact on our ability to provide
Mhm.
services. So, God, you not do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does almost feel like they've gone out on like a limb on this and been like, this is our stance, like this is, you know, this is what we believe. It really is going to have an impact, and yeah, they weren't prepared to make that have that risk. So yeah,
I mean, good
fascinating.
on.
It is
Good
fascinating,
on.
but I think again, like there's such a cultural difference between France and other countries in Europe and the the UK. And again, I just like, I don't know, and I guess I kind of have to remember that maybe I've got a bit of a bias in here now. But when I look at France as a culture, I kind of see it, and having been on many holidays there as well, their relationship with alcohol is so much more, is so different, and it is throughout Europe, isn't it? Alcohol is enjoyed with a meal. They don't just necessarily, and I'm not again blanketing, but it doesn't seem like the culture is just to go out and drink as much as you possibly can in volume, as quickly as you possibly can, and get absolutely wasted. It's more a case of getting together, having food, having that connection and that kind of thing. Whereas I think with us, it's all about, it is just that excess and that binge drinking and like as much as we can, and it just feels so different here, and we're known for it. At the end of the
Oh,
day,
yeah.
you know, we're known for it around the world, for our crazy drinking.
And they weren't, they didn't stop alcohol use in the restaurants and stuff like that
No,
for in
exactly.
France.
Hmm.
It was carry outs, it was from
Yes.
the shops and stuff.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a blanket ban on alcohol. But I think that reflects the cultural side of it even more,
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
their drinks are taking place around a meal
Hmm.
with conversation and stuff like that. It's not buying a truckload of booze to take home to the house, and then that's when the emergency services are being called out to houses to take people into
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah. Or they're sat in
Um,
the park in the blazing hot
the
sun,
heat,
necking necking all this booze, which happen over here. You see it all the time.
I
Um,
know there's something about this country when it comes to the sun. It's like get your carry out and get out,
yeah,
and you need to be
yeah,
drinking.
yeah,
Um, Yeah, it just, I think, I mean, we weren't trying to make comparisons. We weren't saying who should or shouldn't do it, but it just
no,
struck me that when we saw that, we just went, imagine they tried to do that here.
yeah,
Imagine they
yeah,
tried to do it here. But I do think it's wild and
yes,
respected that
yeah,
alcohol is being discussed, alcohol's impact is being discussed, because
yeah,
quite frankly, I don't think alcohol on a hot day or a cold day or any day of the week is ever challenged about the impact it is having on our country, on our services.
mhm,
I've been fortunate enough to do some work with Alcohol Focus Scotland, and
yeah,
that's what they talk about directly, the
mm,
impact that this has on hospital admissions, children on child protection registers, like direct, and we really hope to have somebody from Alcohol Focus Scotland come on
Yeah.
the podcast one day, because they talk directly about the impact that it has on a country. That's the first time I've seen that a measure like that coming
Yeah.
on from government level down. And I
Exactly.
think it's to be applauded. I think it's the first time I've ever heard a government saying this is not helpful.
Yeah.
Like, let's look at this, and to talk about its impact on public services. I applaud France
Yeah,
for
I
that.
completely agree. I do, and I think it's a conversation we should be having. And I think, I mean, do we genuinely think that these conversations are going to be happening more? That this is maybe like the start of it, and wider conversations are going to be had, and rather than just not being a topic that is ever even like questioned, that maybe these things are gonna, I don't know, gonna start happening. We already said we've already had one heat wave. We're now in the midst of a second, and then there's another one already being predicted. And I think, again, whatever your thoughts on the climate, whatever else, like, we know that our summers are getting hotter. This
Yeah.
is the proof of it. So yeah,
I think it is. I think it is. I think this is a government that's doing it, and I do think we're going to start seeing more conversations. I think one which I know we could talk for a whole episode on, and it's just came to me, so forgive me for going off topic, but you hear them talking about getting drunk on planes now.
yeah.
Like, I don't know if
Oh,
you've been on a plane recently, and over the tannoy, they mention how, like, limiting, like, they always say you can only drink our booze, right? But not your
yeah.
duty free. But they'll talk about too much alcohol. I've never agreed with the guy for Ryanair once in my entire life, but he wants to stop
Oh, do
alcohol
with him
on
on that.
planes. So there is rumblings.
There is.
Like, and don't get me wrong, a lot of people will then just not fly Ryanair as a result of that if he brought that in. But
Fine by me.
I'll
I,
be
d- and that is I think, probably an episode,
uh-huh.
because, again, I think there was even a to do on Radio 2 about that when that came out, between Vernon Kay and Jeremy Vine, like, differing opinions about it, because it definitely hits the nerve. But I mean, honestly, it would scare the hell out of me being on a plane with someone that was drunk. Honestly, it is one of my worst nightmares. It's so dangerous.
But it's on a par, isn't it? With somebody
Yeah,
saying that level alcohol is impacting safety.
it is.
So I do think we're starting to hear, whether it's industry, whether it's government, whether
Mm,
it's other public bodies coming out and saying
yeah,
this
yeah.
isn't a good mix. Like, I don't think people will ever, not this country, will ever go far enough to
No,
say absolutely not. But I'd welcome the conversation at
yeah,
least.
definitely, definitely. I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. I really do.
What?
I think the biggest thing out of all of this is, in that news item, it wasn't the heat wave that caught our attention. It was the fact, like we said, that it was alcohol that was becoming a part of that public health conversation, and that's a first.
Yes, it is a first. But let's keep our eyes and ears open. And if anyone ever hears of these things, like, please bring them to our attention, because we'd
Yeah,
love to talk
yeah,
about them on here,
yeah.
wouldn't we?
We really, really would. Yeah, let us know your thoughts as well. Like, yeah, how you'd feel if they were able to, if you think they would be able to ever have that kind of conversation over here. We'd love to hear.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you again, as always, for listening. And we do hope this episode, you're leaving this episode feeling seen, supported, and reminded that you don't have to do it alone. If anything has resonated with you and you're curious about what more could look like, then come and find us at our circle. Until next time, take gentle care of yourself, because we deserve more.